So thanks all for listening to us, and if you have any questions now, we'd be happy to answer.
You spoke of the sense of relief that bad times are back again, but is there such a thing as an Occupy Dublin, like we have Occupy Wall Street here? I mean, what's happened to anger?
We have an Occupy Dame Street at the moment.
Dame Street?
Dame Street, which is just outside the central bank in Dublin. And it's, the guys were down at Wall Street yesterday, but I wasn't, but Dame Street is.
What about more widespread anger, is there?
Yes, there is, but it's kind of coming at, it's been how we get to hear about it. I mean, I suppose it's one question, and then it's not coming together in a cohesive way, probably in the same way as the problem here, I guess. But
I think you have to ask yourself what anger is. What is anger really? How does it express itself? It comes out in many, many different ways. I think maybe people are bottling it up.
And I also think people are baffled as how to fight against it, because when the Vikings came to Ireland, they wore big helmets and with horns and things, and when the British came in, they were different. But when Germans arrived in Terminal 2 with briefcases, and the IMF took over the country, it was this new loss of independence, but it wasn't like an invading army. It's so complicated. I think people are still reeling to understand the economics of actually what happened.
And so there's still, I guess, the majority of people just desperately clinging on and hoping that it's going to be okay, and and they might still have a job, or they might still be managing to pay their mortgages, or so that's the situation that most people are in. So it's the time for, I don't know whether the time for anger will come, but it certainly hasn't come together yet.
Eternal optimism.
Any other questions? Yes?
I just wanted to say I'd seen a bit on television sometime in the last week with Michael Lewis, whose new book is adapted.
Oh yes,
European response.
he wrote for Vanity Fair on Dublin.
Right. And his take is apparently that Ireland is the only country that simply owned up to having screwed up, and now they have to pay the piper, as it were.
I think we're very good at owning up.
Well, yeah, just echoing the sentiments.
Yeah. If anyone suggests we've screwed up, we really go, yeah. Clearly. We're truly sorry.
It's that built-in guilt we come with, so we're always looking for something to be guilty about. Yeah, it is, there's guilt, yeah. When you're born guilty. Yeah.
Sorry, yes?
Speaking of Catholic guilt, is that the whole topic of the Catholic Church's very last year now, or do you see it, in the magazine and in the submissions?
Sorry, against the Catholic Church, or?
No, just as a topic, as a for or against anything.
Not so much, I mean, I think it's very hard to write about some of those issues. I mean, and to find the way to write about the horror of child abuse and the victims and the perpetrators. So I think there've been probably some. I can't think of anything we've published, but I'm sure I've read submissions that just didn't quite do it for me. I mean, in terms of, that's the danger, I suppose, when you're writing about topics like that. Are you doing anything that's outside of what I'll see in a documentary on TV or a newspaper article? And so to fictionalize those stories, that would require. I know Claire Keegan has a story which was about childhood abuse within the family. Do you know about any clerical sex abuse stories that
I didn't say sex abuse.
Sorry?
I didn't say sex abuse.
Okay,
I just
sorry.
said
That's what we think of.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I was actually listening to that. Yeah.
It is, I'm afraid, what we think.
Yeah.
I think the debate has always been that changes in the last, especially in the last 12 months. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where
Yeah.
it's going.
Yeah.
It's in it's front page.
It is.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, what issue were you particularly, like,
No, I
when
was
you
just
said
thinking,
a
like,
year
this is a
ago?
religious country, England's a very unreligious country, Ireland used to be religious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just that whole larger sense of,
Well, I mean, there's still obviously a need for spiritual, you know, spiritual fulfillment in any country. But yeah, I mean, even my parents' generation would be turned against the church over the, you know, like we did have last year, apart from everything else, we did have two major reports, at least two, coming out, you know, chronicling the sexual abuse within the church. So that's why, I mean, it's in my mind. And that obviously has hugely damaged the faith of probably an older generation. Whereas I think people were moving away from the church anyway. Just the organised, the actual mass attendance, observance of the sacraments, etc.